Today we're talking about atypical sexual behaviors and what those are, and some things that you can do for assessment purposes and to help clients out who come in for that. The definition of atypical sexual behaviors is sexual fantasies or behaviors that are not commonly practiced, which may produce negative physical, emotional, or social consequences either for the person practicing them or for someone else. Atypical sexual behavior includes paraphilia and paraphilia-related disorders. Paraphilia would include things such as exhibitionism. This is when someone becomes sexually aroused by exposing their genitalia to someone who does not want to see it, like out in public or something like that. It also can include voyeurism, which is when the person becomes sexually aroused by watching other people in intimate acts, or, you know, kind of like a peeping Tom is what they used to be called. There is also pedophilia, which is when they are sexually aroused by children, usually about 13 or under. Sadomasochism is when someone becomes sexually aroused by being hurt or humiliated by the partner. Sexual sadism is when a person is sexually aroused by humiliating or hurting their partner. Some of the paraphilia-related disorders include cybersex, pornography dependence, telephone sex, and compulsive masturbation. Again, sexual sadism is when a person becomes sexually aroused by inflicting pain, humiliation, or some sort of bondage or suffering to another person. On this slide, we're going to watch a clip here of 50 Shades of Grey. Oops. Once it plays, then just back up. You don't need to show the movie.
So this is just an interview for the newspaper. I just have a couple of questions. Mr. Gray will see you now.
I'm back to you.
What was he like?
Just sit back.
He was polite, intense, smart, really intimidating. Do you have any interests outside of work?
What about you? I'd like to know more about you.
There's really not much to know about me. Look at me.
I am.
To what do you owe your success?
I exercise control in all things, but still.
It must be really boring.
I'm incapable of leaving you alone.
Then don't.
I had a rough start in life. You should steer clear of me. I don't do romance. My tastes are very singular. You wouldn't understand.
Enlighten me then.
Okay. So if any of you are familiar with 50 Shades of Grey, their relationship is that he is into sexual sadism, and he introduces her to that, and that is a very large portion of their relationship. In 2017, there was a study done about sexual sadism. They noted their definition was that it was a paraphilia in which a person gains sexual excitement from the physical or psychological suffering of another person. The authors completed their study in order to determine if there was any link between sexual sadism and committing any non-sexual criminal acts. We have already found that there is a high risk of sexual sadism to involve themselves in criminal acts that are sexually related. The findings of their study found that sexual sadism was strongly associated also with non-sexual criminal acts. And these people usually have more extensive and versatile criminal histories. Pornography, is it helpful or hurtful? Many couples, and you've probably know somebody who says, well, what's wrong with it? We use it, you know, in the privacy of our bedroom. We like it, whatever, whatever. On this slide, we're going to watch another quick video here. And this is about what happens to the people who were in the pornography industry who are now no longer in it.
I remember, this is the funniest thing, being nervous about my dialogue. The sex I knew I could do, because I knew I had a, you know, I was really good at that. I kind of still am. But anyway,
And I'm looking down at this woman. Her eyes rolled in the back of her head. And I went, what the hell? I killed a white woman. I'm going to jail. Killed a white woman with my...
I feel like if you can't succeed in porn, you kind of can't succeed anywhere. It's really not that difficult. It's a skill we all have. People like, how are you the best? Like, I showed up on time every time. It's pretty hard to fail out of porn, but it seems like everybody does it. It's been years since I've been interviewed or in front of a camera. Ultimately, this whole industry is a big cop-out on life. You wake up, you're 47 years old, and you ain't got a pot to piss in. Great, 25 years, now what are you gonna do? Okay, now what?
I was one of the first girls that didn't look like I did. I became so well known so quickly. When I quit, I didn't think about the big picture. What am I going to do next? I had a mortgage to pay.
The way my career ended was my family was in the church. I get diagnosed, same time, it's all over the news in Detroit. So people finding out right there.
and I'd always have, like, you know, these soiree affairs. And then, you know, I'd be, like, pounding somebody in the dungeon downstairs. And my mom would be upstairs, and she's like, I'm so proud of my daughter. And they're like, do you know what she's doing downstairs? I don't care. I'm just very proud of her.
Didn't exactly exit the business. The business kind of exited me. Every film I made was the last film I was ever going to do. It was a moment of truth in my life.
Fame is real. Fame is fun.
Really still like it?
Made it so I get recognized when I go to the grocery store. Yeah, of course I miss it. It was fun, but it is gone.
Okay, if anyone wants more information about pornography and whether it's good or bad for your brain or your relationship or anything, there's a really good website called Fight the New Drug, which is about pornography, and they do have articles on there that are research-based. So one of the quotes that I found while looking through this information about pornography was, individuals who learn of their partner's porn habit often internalize their shame and confusion, asking themselves why they aren't enough. They may feel undesirable, unattractive, and worthless. Another quote talking about porn: pornography doesn't give an accurate picture of what healthy sex is like. They cut out things like talking, cuddling, touching, bonding, and other ways that partners are responsive to each other's needs and preferences without sexual intercourse. There are different perspectives about how atypical sexual behavior manifests. One of them is a psychodynamic perspective, and they believe that this happens because it is some sort of protection against, to protect their ego against repressed or painful memories or thoughts. Another perspective is behavioral and cognitive perspective. The behavioral part is they believe when a person's sexual responses are conditioned by stimuli that is not considered normal, so in that atypical range. A part of that also would be operant conditioning, in which it develops as a child due to underdeveloped social skills or parents or relatives participating in unconventional behaviors. The cognitive aspect would be if a person has a belief system that is based on assumptions or misperceptions, or they are self-serving interpretations. Another aspect would be that they believe that their sexual self influences their behavior, which is a cognitive error. A third perspective is the developmental perspective, and this is they believe they become atypical due to child abuse or beginning to view pornography at a very early age, or some type of family psychopathology. They believe that the child's psychosexual development is hindered because of the influences interfering with their normal development. There's also biological perspective, in which some people think that there are possible differences that are neurophysiological. Some assessment tools that you could use when a client comes in would be a collaborative interview, which we know about. You sit and just kind of chat with them and kind of figure out what's going on. Another thing that you could maybe do is have the client keep what's called a behavioral log. This could go for a week at a time, or whatever it is that the two of you decide, where they would write down any of their behavior, how many times a day, the times that they are doing so, how long they are doing so. For them to keep the behavior log lets you as a counselor know what's going on and what the variability of it is, but also as things progress and treatment progresses, it can also be a clue to you and the client to show any positive improvements. There are also several different types of sexual assessment questionnaires. One of them would be a sexual fantasy questionnaire. Another one is a multiphasic sex inventory. And another would be the ABLE questionnaire. I tried to find samples of those, but I could not do that for here. Some interventions that you may use when you're counseling couples who come in and one of the partners that has atypical sexual behavior would be for the partner to disclose the behavior. The counselor should help determine when and if that disclosure should be made. It's obviously going to cause some problems if the other partner is unaware of it, which could cause a few more problems in the relationship that would need to be worked on. Another thing that you could do is refer them to educational materials. These could include handouts, books, tapes that would help educate them about the specific behavior as well as how it is affecting their relationship. Also identify positive aspects, have each partner identify the positives in the other and concentrate on those during the therapy process. Another thing a counselor should be looking for is any enabling behavior. If a person comes in and they are dependent on pornography, even if their partner is aware of it, is that partner enabling their behavior by going out and buying them the latest issue of a pornographic magazine, or making changes on their computer system to allow for more pornography material? And as with a lot of other therapies, being able to find out about their family of origin, possibly by doing a sexual genogram, would be important as well. So now we're going to do an individual activity, And what we're going to do is go to this website, and it is going to have you do an assessment. It's a free online assessment. It's a sexual addiction screening tool, SAST for short. This is just something you're going to do privately. Please do not share your results with anyone, but it's just an opportunity for you to see the questionnaire, what kinds of questions are asked on it, and possibly how to score that tool. If you have any other questions, there are references at the end. And again, I want to mention that website, Fight the New Drug, which is about pornography, and they do have some good research-related material on there. Thank you.